Hi there, I'm Beth and this is Jared. Thanks for clicking on this video.
AT&T and the three commandments of the devil. Where's this coming from? Well, it's coming from a comment that we received, and it was a really insightful comment. Unfortunately, YouTube isn't allowing it to show up publicly, and we're not sure why. Possibly it's because it doesn't put AT&T in that positive of a light, and AT&T, I'm sure, is a big financial contributor to YouTube. Or maybe, who knows, maybe it's because it uses the word slave in it, and maybe YouTube is just arbitrarily censoring all comments that use the word slave in it. The reason why this comment used the word slave is there's a documentary called Slave Circle. And so I want to mention that. Very interesting documentary. And basically what this comment was saying is that the marketing company that's actually marketing AT&T at Sam's Club is a different company, and it's called Smart Circle. And it goes by a lot of different names. And there's actually an entire website called the Devil Corp. And that website is dedicated to exposing just how cult-like this is. And you know, there was a video that we came out with talking about 6 reasons of how AT&T, at Sam's Club anyway, seems to be presenting themselves as if they were a cult. And so there's a distinction there. I mean, are they a cult, or are they just presenting themselves as if they were a cult when they're at Sam's Club? But this is just something that we noticed through our own personal experience of how these sales reps were acting. But sure enough, there's actually a whole website that's pointing to how this marketing organization, the company that's responsible for the sales, is actually a cult. So these reps that are marketing for AT&T and Sam's Club, they actually work for a different company, Smart Circle.
Yeah, and the person who gave that comment to bring this out to us, thank you so much. We really appreciated getting that, and we went and we saw the documentary and we enjoyed it. We got a lot of information from that.
And it just makes so much sense that it's a different company, because they like to tell you, just for being a Sam's Club member, you get this offer, which is totally false. You actually have to do other things besides already being a Sam's Club member to qualify for that offer. But the point is, they're trying to make you feel like you're special because you're a Sam's Club member, when the truth of the matter is it's them. They're a different company, and that's why you are going to get different offers from them than you would if you went to an AT&T corporate store. And it's important to understand that they're a multi-level marketing structure. And so it's very interesting that if all you're interested in doing is switching to AT&T and just trying them out, and you're not interested in getting a phone from them, well, they're not going to want to give you any incentives for that. See, they're really interested primarily in the big sale, right? Probably because they have all these people that are taking a cut at every level, all the way up this MLM. They're all taking a cut of that. So they're really interested in making the big sale.
And this company doesn't just work for AT&T. Like, it incorporates a lot of other companies too.
So all the previous videos that we were recorded, we had no idea about any of this. So they were all 100% based on our own personal experience. And in going back and forth in the comments with some of these AT&T advocates, they say, oh, well, this is just your personal experience. So they're trying to minimize the importance of something that we experienced firsthand. We've seen it with our own ears and eyes. The things we're saying, it's just, hey, this is what they're saying, and this is why it's actually untruthful. That's all we're saying. So to minimize our personal experience in that way, not really on board with that. But in this video, we are going to go into actual research from other sources and what you find out when you actually research this topic. And what we're going to see is that it all tells the same story. If you go by your personal experience, and the research is all leading you to the same conclusion. So we're going to structure the research that we did into the 3 commandments of Smart Circle. And these are 3 commandments that they drill into the reps. So what are these 3 commandments?
Okay, so the first one is have a great work ethic. The second is have a strong student mentality. And the third is always, always, always have a positive attitude.
Yeah, and at first glance, these seem harmless enough. They're ambiguous enough that it might be hard to see what the problem is with them. But it's really the way that they interpret these to the reps that leads to the problem. And so let's go through them one at a time, starting with the last one, and we'll work our way backwards. Always, always, always having a positive attitude. To illustrate the problem with this from a consumer standpoint is when these reps go and they reprimand us as consumers for using the term locked in when referring to how their deals work. That is really them applying this commandment about always, always, always have a positive attitude, because we're applying a negative attitude, I guess, to their offer because it's creating financial commitment. And it truly is creating financial commitment, but using the words locked in apparently is negative. And so
Bad boy, don't say it.
yeah. And there's a lot of other things that are considered. If you watch the documentary, we can't go into all of them, but there's a lot of other things that are considered swear words that,
Swear words.
swear words. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with them. They're actually an accurate way of portraying what's actually going on, but yet they're considered swear words according to Smart Circle. So that's the problem with this commandment, is it really goes against the commandment that most people find close to their heart, which is thou shalt not lie. It's actually in complete contrast with that commandment, the way they apply this one about always, always, always be positive, because I'm for having a positive outlook on life. I'm for having hope, and I'm all about that. But this idea of always painting things in a positive light, even if they're negative, that's a totally different thing. The second commandment, having a strong student mentality. To illustrate the problem with this, there was something I brought out in last week's video where a question was asked and the conversation was recorded in last week's video, and he was bringing out these specific words that really didn't have much to do with the question being asked. He was talking about switching carriers and porting over. And I mean, the point is that if you don't switch carriers and you stay with your current carrier, I mean, it's very much understood that none of these things are going to apply. So why would he be feeling like he has to say these words when they don't seem to fit? Well, the answer to that is that they are taught in such a way that they have these 4 systems, and they need to learn them word for word and actually repeat them with 100% accuracy, word for word back. And that's what they're rewarded for. And also there's this system of compliance, I guess you'd call it, where if one person teaches one way and another person teaches the same concept, but he's teaching it another way, like that's bad, according to them. And they're actually explaining this. It's in the documentary. So everyone has to think the same way. So they're getting people to all think the same way and to just regurgitate word for word back. And another example of that is when they say you get this offer just for being a Sam's Club member. That seems to be something that they were taught to repeat to just regurgitate that out there, but not really think about, like, is this statement really true? Like, what am I really telling people when I'm saying this? What do these words actually mean? And what ideas are they really conveying? So instead of thinking about that, they're just being taught to repeat these words, because when they are tested, as far as they're taught one way, and then they have to come back and they have to repeat with 100% accuracy, word for word.
Yeah, basically, let's take away the fact that you're an individual and you might speak differently than others.
Right, and it takes away the fact that you're actually having a goal to communicate ideas in the typical fashion of understanding what the idea is you want to communicate. And then you just talk to someone until you get that idea over to them. You know, that's not what's being done here at all. You're structuring the words in such a way so that you're not really getting the accurate ideas over to the consumer. So part of having a good student mentality is learning the 4 systems. And part of the 4 systems is Fuji. And the first part of the acronym Fuji is F, for fear of loss. And to illustrate this, when I was at Sam's Club, the rep told me that if I don't get a 5G phone, my 4G phone was going to stop working. And this just illustrates how your experience as a consumer is the same story as when you start doing research. Because when I'm going back and forth in the comments of this channel with these AT&T advocates, they're constantly throwing the reps that you talk to there at the store under the bus, saying, oh, it's their fault. They just shouldn't have said that. That was wrong. And constantly, you talk to a rep that didn't know what they were talking about. And it's the same thing when you do research, is that you find out that these reps that sign up for this are constantly being blamed. If they're not making enough sales, it's because they're doing something wrong. It's always them doing something wrong. So they're constantly getting thrown under the bus, having to take the blame for things. But this aspect of fear, they want to say, oh, well, that was just that rep and it was wrong that the rep did that. That's not a reflection on us as a company. Well, how about Fuji? How about one of the things you're teaching being fear of loss? So you're absolutely teaching that. And so you are teaching your reps to use fear to try to get the consumer to do things.
Right. So to sum up the whole student mentality, it's pretty much AKA brainwashing and indoctrination. And these poor representatives who are just trying to make a living, find some financial stability, this is what they have to go through.
So the first commandment about having a great work ethic, I save this for last because it doesn't directly relate to the consumer, although indirectly it does. As a consumer, you may notice this because you may notice that the more senior sales reps, the ones who have been doing it longer, seem to be the most brainwashed or even the least in touch with reality. And the reason for this is this first commandment is really all about keeping these people so busy as they're being brainwashed. They're just so busy that they don't have time to stop and pause and really think about what's going on. And staying busy combined with all the emotional stuff.
We had a chant that we did every morning. We'd have a morning meeting at 7:15 every day, and I'd come in with my coffee, and I'd say, tell me how you're feeling! And it was written on the wall. And most of the people who were there were new, because almost nobody lasted more than like a week.
Constant turnover.
Constant turnover.
Yeah.
And people would say, you read along on the wall and you say, fantastic, terrific, great, oh yeah, strong, juice, baby sucker, I feel wonderful, right on, right on, right on, juice, 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 ooh, wah, wah, I feel great.
Oh my God! Ready for morning meeting? Yeah!
And even as they're moving up through the ranks, it's only when they've been sufficiently brainwashed that they're able to entrust them with moving up to that next step, which is actually training people underneath you. And they've been sufficiently brainwashed that they don't even realize that what they're teaching these ones underneath them isn't really good. And they just keep people so busy though. And one way that they do this is they keep saying, well, you have to work hard now because it's going to pay off later. It's going to pay off later when you're able to have a balanced life. And it's just so deceptive the way they do this, because at the same time, they're making fun of all the people that have normal 9-to-5 jobs they bring out, who actually like have a balanced life and are able to enjoy time with their family. Oh, those losers with those 9-to-5 jobs. And that's how deceptive it is as they're doing this. But they're saying, oh yeah, you really have to work hard now. And they keep them so busy with this promise that later they're going to be able to have the balanced life that they would enjoy having. And a lot of the people in this documentary were saying, even as they rose up through the ranks, they never made good on that promise. It never really happened. They never got that balanced life. And I think that's one of the things that this documentary was trying to drive home, is that the percentage of people that actually get what they're promised is just very, very small. I mean, they might be out there, but it's a small percentage of people that actually do get what they're promised and what they say, hey, yeah, you work hard now, but you're going to be rewarded for it and you're going to get a balanced life. That only happens to like a small percentage of people. But I would make the argument, say as they rise up through the ranks, it does happen to someone and they reach that point where they can actually have a more balanced life and they don't have to be working hard all the time. Well, at that point, they've been so brainwashed, because at each step of the way, they have to be more and more brainwashed in order to be teaching the people underneath them these things, that they're so brainwashed anyway at that point. I don't know how much it would matter if they actually had time to stop and reflect. And there are people, on the other hand, who do wake up to what's going on, and they're the ones that are in these documentaries and that are leaving negative reviews about the company and that are contributing to the website, of course, that's calling out this company for everything it does.
Right. And those who are still brainwashed by it, I'm sure, I know on our channel, they've left comments defending the whole thing, and they're leaving comments on, I think the site was Glassdoor, and they use the same phrases a lot of times they were pointing out. And I know these people, I'm sure a lot of them are sincere and they truly believe in this. We feel it's important for us to make a video like this because not only does it benefit the consumer, it benefits these poor people who are being taken advantage of by this big corporation where only the rich on top are benefiting at the expense of the low men on the totem pole on the bottom.
Yeah, and to that point, there were some comments that were trying to insinuate that our videos were teaching people to mistreat these ones, and that couldn't be further from the truth. You know, our videos are all about really calling out the corporations for what they're doing. And you do have to show some empathy, though, towards why people may get upset, because if you haven't been brainwashed, the things that are being told to consumers come across as upsetting. I mean,
Yes.
and if you're part of this group that unfortunately has been brainwashed, that's such a foreign concept to you. You know, you've never thought of that yet because you've only heard one side of the story. You're a victim more than anything else because they've taken advantage of you like this. And that's why you don't understand why, like, people do get upset.
If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate your support.
And we have some other videos here on the screen that you might be interested in checking out. Please like, comment, subscribe. All those things really help. Thank you so much, and we hope you have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.